Hey, this is Johnny with Johnny Dolphins Talk. Just want to give you a little update on some of the stuff that's going on with the roster. We did just re-sign Durham Smythe for tight end. Hopefully we'll look into more tight ends during the draft. We'll have to wait until end of April just about to see that. Other than that, I'm just going to go over about who we have on the team right now. So we have, for cornerbacks, we got Xavier Howard and your man Jalen Ramsey still. That's probably going to be your main two. But then to back them up, we got Eric Rowe and Kader Kohu, probably the two best backups. Igbenogany, it's his year to see if he's actually going to be worth it. Since we have Vic Fangio, let's see what happens with him. And Byron Jones, we already know he's going to be cut. He just saving us quite a bit of money. We did re-sign Justin Bethel for special teams, which he was really one of the stars for special teams. He always showed out when he needed to. And Keon Crossan, he was always there when we needed him. There was a couple plays where he was not so great, but he was a rookie, so we're going to expect that from him. We did just acquire Deshaun Elliott from the Lions a few weeks ago, and we're going to have to see how he does, or even if where he stacks up with the team, because we are loaded with cornerbacks and defensive backs. Just like we have Tino Ellis and Clayton Fejedelem. Clayton Fejedelem, he's been our special teams guy for years. He's always been there, and he's really good. There was a couple plays where we did a fake punt, and he ended up getting it, which was really nice. Nick Needham is very good in coverage, so keeping him is really good. And Troy Williams, I'm excited to see how he does this year. Last year he got taken out with an injury, and it just happened to suck for him. Now hopefully next year that's coming up, he'll be prepared. I know he's been training, and I'm excited to see how he does. Because Troy Williams was a good stud. He looked like he had a lot of potential, and just happened to be injured. Now we do have couple new defensive tackles. We have Josiah Bronson. They're not really much on him yet because we haven't seen him, and that's really, as us Dolphin fans, we want to see how they play for us, especially with Vic Fangio coming in. It'll be a big change. Now Christian Wilkins, he's a man, and we just need to sign him. Like, we signed Durham Smythe. In my opinion, we should have signed Christian Wilkins first, but can't tell them what to do. It's Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel's job to do what they think is best for the team. And I'm like 75% trusting them, because as Dolphin fans, it's hard to trust our coaches and our owners. So just how it's been lately. Now, we did acquire 3 players from the Jets, and Dan Feeney, Mike White, and Braxton Berrios. And hopefully they play better. They did come from the Jets, which they are starting to do better. Braxton Berrios does have potential. I don't know much about Dan Feeney. I've heard that he's not so great and just another washed-up player. Mike White, he has more potential, and I feel like him and Skylar Thompson are going to be battling it out in preseason, since now we're doing the 90 to 53 jump in one day. There's not going to be many starters on the preseason game, if any. So it'll be very exciting to see how that goes. Be a different game this year in preseason when it's only all rookies, no starters. That'll be very interesting. We did re-sign Andrew Van Ginkel, which I really do like that. He's one of our good outside linebackers. He isn't like as big as like some of the linebackers out there, but he's making a name for himself, and that's what matters. And Brandon Shaw, still waiting to see if we're going to sign him or not. Hopefully we do. He was decent last year. He helped us better than Austin Jackson, I think, played, but it's just how the coaches feel on him. It's not really our job to pick him. It's the coach's job, which, my opinion, sometimes sucks. We did bring back all 4 running backs, which I did hear that trying to trade Salvin Ahmed and Miles Gaskin might be actually a good idea because we won't get hurt with barely any money at all, and we can maybe get something out of that. And that's something to look forward to coming draft time or even right before preseason. See if we can trade them and get someone better. Because Raheem Mostert and Jeff Wilson Jr., I think they can carry it on themselves. They did pretty good last year, and as long as they can grow from last season, that's really what matters, and it'll be really nice to see them both work together like they did last year. And we have our main two safeties, Brandon Jones and Javon Holland. Javon Holland, I feel like he's going to go to the Pro Bowl probably next year, or better yet, be All-Team Pro, but we'll wait on that because injuries are the root of all evil. They can change every season in any team. It's the worst thing that happens in football is injuries. Now, Freddie Swain, I'm not too sure of. He 6', 199. Check out his stats. This previous season, he only had 4 receptions. He did have 54 yards with the game against the Chargers, so hopefully the average of 27, he can keep that against Chargers when we play him again. He was a Miami Dolphins before. He only played 1 game with us, and I believe that was preseason in 2022. There's no receptions for those games. He did play for the Seattle Seahawks for most of his career. He played almost 2 full seasons. He had a high of 343 yards, and his longest reception was 68 yards. He did have a high of 4 touchdowns for 2021, which that's pretty decent from a wide receiver, unless he was the only target. Now, let's look into Braxton Berrios' stats. I want to check his out. Pretty sure his are a little better than that guy's, even though he played for the Jets. The Jets are starting to surprise us Dolphin fans, even though some of us don't want to admit it. I'll be the first one to admit it. Starting to worry about the Jets, and it's not something I thought we would ever say. But story of the NFL, some teams get better, while some teams get shittier. Like, look at the Rams. They won a Super Bowl, and they did the normal. Completely lost out. Now, for Braxton Berrios, his previous season with the Jets, he had most yards of 25 yards against the Bills with only 1 reception. It looks like they didn't utilize him as much, like I said in my previous video, which I feel like he's a good 50-50 ball receiver, and I feel like that's where we're going to utilize him since we lost one of our 50-50 receivers. And he played for the Jets for 4 years, and he had only a total of 1,085 yards. Yeah, they weren't utilizing him like they should have. He's going to be one of those wide receivers that you get rid of and it haunts you because he has good potential. He has good hands. He is a little shorter, though. He is 5'9", but, I mean, look at Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle. They're, 5'10" each, and they can jump ball, and if they can beat you in the race, that's just how it's going to be anyways, because Tyreek Hill's fast, and so is Jalen Waddle. There's no way you're going to catch up with them. Now, there was one cornerback I seen that was in the combine and he was running like 4.3s, which if I was any team, I'd be all over that. A cornerback running 4.3s, that's good, especially if he's smart with the ball and has good football knowledge. He'll be all over those wide receivers, and kind of look forward to seeing him play next year. Now, for all people saying that Tua did worse than Aaron Rodgers and all this, if you guys haven't looked at the stats, Aaron Rodgers actually had a worse year than Tua. It just happened to be that Tua lost Aaron Rodgers during that game and had a concussion, so kind of gave Aaron Rodgers help being Tua was concussed, because if he wasn't concussed, I feel like that game would have ended with us winning and not them winning. But we still ended up making the playoffs, which that made us happy. We just would like to go win a playoff game at least. That'd be really nice. And if we can do that and just build on from this season, because this season, let's go over the stats. We had a total of 342 first downs, which opponents only had 336, so we averaged better than most of our opponents. Our first downs mostly were all by passing, which we were passing offense mostly this previous season. We did do really well in third down conversions, considering our previous history with that. We usually sucked at third down conversions, and that's usually what haunted us. We had a total of 6,197 offensive yards, and opponents had 5,743, so we had a good 400 yards more than most of our opponents. Rushing yards, we actually averaged 390 with 4.3 and average per carry. The average per carry we were over, but most teams rushed at least 30 more yards than we did. Now with passing yards, we threw like 800 more yards than any other team that we played. We were low on sacks this year, though. We only had 35 sacks, when usually we're a little higher up there. But Christian Wilkins and Zach Sealer, they just keep doing their thing, and they'll get better. Now, let's look into his personal stats, and let's go and compare them. So, we all know Patrick Mahomes had the most passing yards of 5,250, but if we go down, Tua is only 13th out of all the quarterbacks with passing yards, and he missed quite a few games this year. He ended up having 3,548 yards with an average of 8.9, which I believe that's the highest average per quarterback. And he also had one of the least on interceptions with 8. The only person that I believe had least interceptions was Jimmy Garoppolo. Which Jimmy Garoppolo, he didn't also play a full season, so it's hard to go off of that. So in that case, I would say Jalen Hurts had the least interceptions per quarterback. Now, we're going to go into the next gen stats, and we're going to go into the fastest ball carriers. Fastest ball carrier, ironically, Tyreek Hill is not first. As much as he says, I am the fastest Miami Dolphins football player, he's not first on speed. First on speed is actually Paris Campbell from the Colts, running 22.11, but it was only for 26 rushing yards. Behind him, you have Kenneth Walker, Breece Hall, Deshaun Jackson, Christian Watson, And your man, Jalen Waddle, number 6. He ran 21.68 miles an hour on an 84-yard touchdown reception. And I believe that was against the Packers and Mr. Rodgers. Now, to find Tyreek Hill, he's not even in the top 20. Which, I think that is kind of funny. Now, longest play, let's see where we match with that. Longest play is, for us, is Jalen Waddle's 84-yard touchdown reception. And he is 11th. There was 111 for scrimmage yards, which is quite a bit, going 21.68 miles an hour. And now let's go into fastest sacks. The fastest sacks by defensive player. The Miami Dolphins are second and third, with Brandon Jones at second, Javon Holland at third. Brandon Jones got there with 2.13 seconds, and Javon Holland with 2.17 seconds. And number 1 is from Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Anthony Nelson. J.J. Watt, surprisingly, 13th. So if you want to compare J.J. Watt and Nick Bosa to us Dolphin fans, saying, oh, Nick Bosa's the best, J.J. Watt's the best, Brandon Jones and Javon Holland had second and third fastest sack for this season. Now, the longest tackle by a defensive player was by the Miami Dolphins. Ironically, it was your boy Darth Cater, and he ran 93.1 yards to tackle someone on a passing coverage. That's very impressive. He saved the day. That's what that means. He saved the day. Now, let's look at some other stats. So let's look at the yak. I don't believe we were that great with the yak, but let's check. Miami Dolphins actually are first with the yak per one reception, not by the season. But it was also Jalen Waddle's 84-yard touchdown reception. He had 74 yards after the catch. Behind him was T.J. Hawkinson with the Lions. And third was Cooper Kupp, for all y'all if you want to compare them. And for some of the best rushes of the season, let's see where we add up. We are 7th with Raheem Mostert, and he rushed 67 yards when he was only expected to run 3. He rushed over expected of 64, and I believe that was against the Jets, if I can recall right, week 15. And let's look at some other stats in here. So let's go to his stats in passing. He had the highest passing rate, like all y'all know, it's everywhere. All of us Dolphin fans are posting it because everyone would say, oh, these people are the best quarterback. Well, Tua did have the best completion percentage and QBR rate of 105.5. And to me, that's always good to have the best QBR rating. Now, we did not go to the Super Bowl. We did not win. So Patrick Mahomes having the 105.2. that's not much off of what Tua had, so we can keep that going. All we gotta do is make sure our defense does the stops, make sure our offense is making all the executions, as long as our defense does the same thing, and just most of us Dolphin fans are excited to see how Jalen Ramsey, Vic Fangio, all this new stuff with our team is gonna go. And preseason, like I said earlier, it's gonna be pretty interesting. There was quite a bit of rule changes, so let's see how that adds up as well. And other than that, fins up, have a nice day.